Hello, welcome to Dungeon Dwellers Podcast. I'm your host, Justin. Today we're reviewing the horror comedy movie, Tales from the Crypt, Bordello of Blood. I got this as a double feature with Demon Knight. I watched Demon Knight last year. I thought that movie was good. This movie, before we get into that, let's go into who's starring this movie. It's directed by Gilbert Adler. I have no idea who he is. Starring Dennis Miller as Rafi Gutman. Erika Eleniak, she sounds familiar, as Catherine Verdot. Angie Everhart plays Lilith. Chris Sarandon, who you'll know from movies like Princess Bride and Fright Night, which if you haven't watched the original Fright Night, is pretty good. He also did the voice of Jack Skellington in Nightmare Before Christmas, and he was also in Child's Play. I have that movie if anybody wants me to review it. He plays Reverend Current, and you got Corey Feldman as Caleb Verdot. So this movie, I would say I tried to watch this last year on Halloween, and it was the beginning of the movie is so kind of cringy that I kind of didn't want to watch it. Basically, Corey Feldman plays, I don't know if he's supposed to be a teenager in this movie, but like he's like this like punk rock metal dude who lives with his Christian sister, who's really hot, played by Erika Eleniak, who works for this televangelist, Reverend Current, who's played by Chris Sarandon. Him and his friends are hanging out at the bar. Some weird guy comes up to him and tells them, "Hey, if you want to get some pussy, go to this place," which is it's like a funeral home. Him and his friend, played by Matt Hill, who, if you don't know who Matt Hill is, he's a famous voice actor. He played Kira Yamato in Gundam Seed, which is Kira Yamato was a very controversial figure in the anime community like a decade ago. He had the nickname Jesus Yamato because he had a way of surviving situations where would kill almost any person, really. Like he survived like what 2 nuclear explosions, and you didn't even the first time around you didn't even get like a half-assed excuse how he survived it. But I'm getting ahead of himself. Him and his friend, played by Corey Feldman, go to this whorehouse, and the whorehouse is run by this, basically the mother of all vampires, Lilith, who's also the mother of all evil. Who, if you don't know, the true villain of season 3 of Twin Peaks is Lilith. So it's like the same character, but like in Twin Peaks she's a demon. Here she's like a vampire, right? And basically what happened, the story is Erika Eleniak hires Dennis Miller, who's a private detective. Like most private detectives, he's down on his luck, going broke. Dennis Miller plays like a Jew in this movie, which is weird to me because it's like, is Dennis Miller Jewish? I'm pretty sure, like, you know, Miller is an Irish name. Let's look up to see if our boy is Jewish here. The reason why it's a big deal that he's Jewish is because there's like an inside joke that he's like a chick, one of the vampire whores, is opening up his shirt, and she gets scared because she thinks she's going to see a crucifix, and it's like the Star of David. Which that was kind of a funny joke. Let's see. He went to Catholic school, which doesn't mean nothing, honestly. We had Jews at my Catholic school. We're just gonna say he was raised Catholic, because he doesn't look Jewish at all. which is, it's not a big deal. I'm just like, I just find it weird when there's so many Jewish comedians and Jewish actors, you get a non-Jew to play a Jew. It's like, that's just weird to me. Especially like you have like people like Adam Sandler and shit like that, right? So I would say the movie, what's gonna make and break the movie, and I kind of hated the meta. There's like a meta joke where Dennis, there's a scene where near the end, Dennis Miller's like, man, I feel like I'm in a bad episode of Tales from the Crypt, where it's very self-referencing, very meta, not in the cool way like Scream was. Yeah, so it's like Dennis Miller like constantly makes jokes in the movie, like one-liners here there, and sometimes it's funny because he's like, when he's like fucking with people, but when it's just this, like almost every line's a joke, it's like, holy fuck, dude, like calm down. I honestly, I didn't. Also, you got the midget actor from Willow, who's in this movie as like the guy who found Lilith. There's also the key. The key is in this movie, which, if you don't know what the key is, it was a Deus Ex Machina tool in Demon Knight, which it had the blood of Christ in it, and that was what the Demon Knight was after in the Demon Knight movie. Here it's in here because it can control Lilith, and that's why Lilith is working. Spoiler alert, she's working for the Televangelists because like he wants the vampire to kill sinners, right? He's not in it for profit, but like the Lilith, who I thought was played by a porn star. There's lots of titties in the movie, right? If I was a kid and I watched this movie, I probably would have loved the movie because there's lots of jokes, lots of titties. There's one scene at the beginning of the movie where like some chick takes off her top and she has not one, not two, but three pierced nipples, which nipple rings, and it's like, holy fuck. It's like, I don't know, it's like, I was a little grossed out, but I'm like, ew, like 3 nipples, but it's like, am I gay for saying that? I don't know, because like, usually people who have fur nipples, which like, Marky Mark had a fur nipple, and apparently one of the Jonas Brothers allegedly did, but then like, it turns out, no, he doesn't have a fur nipple. He has giant fucking nipples that whenever there's photo shoots, they have to digitally like, size the nipples down in Photoshop and shit. But yeah, Marky Mark has a fur nipple. Usually the fur nipples are so small that they're not even like, you can't even tell it's a nipple until you like look like really close. Yeah, so like what's gonna make and break this movie for you is if, are you a fan of Dennis Miller's comedy? Are you a fan of, fast wit, fast insults and shit, whatever Dennis Miller is famous for? I was never a Dennis Miller fan growing up. I was more a fan of like Norm Macdonald, and who Norm Macdonald is apparently like best friends with Dennis Miller. I don't know if that's real or if that's just kayfabe. But yeah, like apparently, I watched some videos of them hanging out. And when Dennis Miller had the Dennis Miller Show on HBO, like he was on there live, which I find weird that Dennis Miller had a show on HBO because Dennis Miller is actually supposed to be like a conservative comedian, and HBO is very not conservative, especially like. But then again, they had Pat Buchanan. Pat Buchanan had a show on there, and he's like the American nationalist type, which I recommend reading his book, Death of the West. If you haven't read Pat Buchanan's book, Death of the West, is really good. It's only like, I think it's less than 400 pages, so it's a good read. Yeah, so like honestly, this movie, I thought there was some good gore effects, like the scene where like Dennis Miller, like attacks the witch, the vampire queen with the axe, and she like splits open, and it's like, holy shit, that's like something I want to see like in a Berserk movie or something, right? It's like, holy fuck, that scene was fucking sick. And yeah, but I did think there was some goofy shit near the end, because like it like they he storms the place with the televangelist because the vampire queen and the midget underling betray him. They storm the place with like water guns filled with holy water, and they're able to kill the fucking vampire whores with the because they're prostitutes, right? Yeah, so they're able to kill the vampire girls with the holy water and the water guns, which is very reminiscent of that movie Ernest. I forget. There's like if if people don't know who the Ernest character is, it's played by Vern something. I forget the guy's name, but like there's a Ernest movie which he was like a character in the 80s, 90s, put out a lot of comedy movies. There's like an Ernest Halloween movie, I forget what it's called, but like at at the end of that movie, like kids fill up their water guns with milk and they kill the monsters in that movie, which was super cool. That reminded me of that scene, and it's all obviously though. Like I thought this movie, it got an average rating, and I kind of get that, but I don't know. I kind of enjoyed the movie for what it was. It is goofy at times, but the I thought it was good, honestly. I kind of like that the televangelists usually like they shit on people shit on Christians. Hollywood shits on Christians in movies, but like the fact that you had the televangelist who was kind of a bad guy in the movie try to redeem himself at the end and die doing so, I thought was cool. Yeah, so like I would have to give this movie, I would say it's a 6.5. I think it's a little better than people say it is, but again, honestly, it's going to the whole core of the movie is whether or not you find Dennis Miller funny. And to be fair, like if you're a fan of Dusk Till Dawn is probably 100 times better than this movie. But I still think this movie is still worth watching. All right, and I'll review Demon Knight tomorrow. Tonight I'm gonna watch My Name Is Bruce and review that. All right, peace.